My name is Phyllis Bowie. I am the owner of Living with Phyllis nonprofit, and we are at the holiday Christmas Kwanzaa gift show.
Omi tutu Anna tutu tutu lay tutu lori tutu lake with tutu ile. Mayuba Ashada, Mayuba Korada, Mayuba Lofi, Mayuba Damana, Mayuba Bobo Agun. Eranu, Erami.
This is going to be something that touches your soul, that starts with soil, that starts with our foundation as Black people, starts with Mother Africa. I'm going to start with what I call the soil. Farmer Brandy Mack. Let me tell you about this sister. Like, I'm crying. Look at me already crying. This is the dynamic sister who tools the soul. She's a mother also, y'all. And she came a long way just to give you her heart and her soul of why she does what she does.
My name is Brandy Mack. I am a permaculture designer, a farmer, and a mother of 3 beautiful Black girls. So I was here today to share the good news around the sovereignty that's happening in our state of California for Black farmers.
Anybody eat this morning? Did anybody eat this morning? Did somebody eat this morning? So clap your hands for the farmer if you ate this morning. Because when we talk about sovereignty, we're gonna talk about it. That means Black folks owning their land, processing their own food, and distributing it. Not just in a nonprofit donation, but an elevation of owning our own land and nation.
Right now, we're living in a world where most of the hunters are telling the story of Black folks, meaning the folks who have hunted our people down are telling the story of what we were and what our relationship was. And so when we talk about sovereignty, sovereignty means us owning our own land, owning the place where we process the food once we grow the land, and having distribution of the goods. And so when we think about sovereignty, we throw this word around, but to know your Black farmer is sovereignty. So you're no longer telling this story of Black folks don't know what fresh food is. That's a contrary story. Our folks were enslaved, not slaves, they were enslaved to this country because of our farming practices, because of our mathematics, because of our sciences. And so when we talk about sovereignty, we must let go of narratives of we don't know what things are. We understand there was an enactment of slavery, but there was BC, right? Before Christianity. Our people were farmers. We built the pyramids, we designed the ecosystems. And so when we talk about sovereignty, we must own our land.
Knowing where your food comes from is so important. Because what we've got going on now, the pandemic and the shortage, you actually don't know where your food comes from. So the message was Black farmers.
In the time of the crack epidemic, also movement work, we were sent to our grandparents on the farm. And we got to crawdad fish, play with plums with each other, pick black-eyed peas, argue with your cousins. When we think about the dis-ease that's happening on the planet, some of us in the soil.
Literally, all of your food needs to come from farmers markets. You can get everything, and especially if we start becoming a little more plant-based. Now, y'all don't get crazy. I'm not trying to be crazy, but if you go back to our roots, it was yams, it was peas, it was greens, it was salads. So all I'm saying, let's go back to that. And we can still have our chicken and stuff, but there's no need to put pork in our greens anymore. You can just saute them, no salt, saute them, a little olive oil, a little bit of Creole seasoning that Wanda, she was another panelist, Chef Wanda, makes this Creole seasoning.
Without any salt. So you have the power to add the amount of salt that you need on your food. The other thing about creating my own spice was educating people about spices. Spices do not last forever in your pantry. Please go home and check your dates. And the one spice that only lasts 1 year is poultry seasoning. 1 year. So every year you should be buying that fresh. You putting old spices on good food. That's all I'm gonna say. I cried and I prayed. And I literally saw my pepper chow chow in a vision. So I felt that I was very inspired by my ancestors to bring back a dish that was home, that was love, and that sat on all their tables.
The other part is shopping and going to Black restaurants, supporting the chefs, because the chefs are literally trying to be as blackity black as possible. So even they're getting their food from Black farmers. He's affectionately known as Mr. Gumbo, but he's known to me as Sweetie Pie. So Chef Dante, what is your dream?
That's a fantastic question. My boo, Phyllis. Shout out to Phyllis. I'm Dante Ball, chef and owner of Gumbo Social. I started Gumbo Social with the idea to bring folks together. I firmly believe that gumbo is the most important food to American culture and society. The issue is we just don't know it yet. My dream, to be honest with you, my dream is to make gumbo America's national dish.
Teaching in the Bayview, we are not allowed to grow vegetables out of the ground. We have to build raised beds because the soil is so contaminated. So instead of skirting by that question with my students when they ask, why can't we just grow this here? Why can we only grow flowers down here? We have the conversation and we talk about it, and they know about Heron's Head because they go down there for field trips, and we talk about recology and the naval shipyard. And I think the most important thing is telling kids and youth what is going on. So growing up, I was always outside. I was always running around somewhere, rolling in some dirt, watering some plants, doing something. And I grew up around Black farmers in the South. But when I moved into my education and being outdoors, it was always more of oh, that's white folks things. Camping, we don't do that. We'll be outside maybe doing a little watering the plants, but not all of these other things. So I never had anyone as a role model who looked like me in any way, not the hair, not the skin, no way at all. And so I wanted to be that person that I never had growing up. And so that's been my passion.
I went from a multi-million-dollar contract with ABC to zero, to the county office in San Francisco on 8th Street. When I tell you, I always knew through getting my education, and that means a master's, undergrad, private schools, that my single mother made sure I went to the best schools in San Francisco, I was in a white world. I was privileged and didn't even really know it. I did get my lattes and stuff, so I did, because that's what we all did in the office. And then I realized, and I knew I was Black, and I represented, don't get me wrong. But when I became bold in Black, woo, y'all, that is a whole different level. You're treated worse by other Black and people of color that are making minimum wage to give me county money that I paid my taxes to get. When I tell you all the nonprofits I went to, all the pantries I went to, it was rotten food, y'all. It wasn't relevant to us. I would leave those pantries. I would leave the food banks feeling sad, poor, weak, disrespected. And I'm like, how did I fall so far? And then I lifted myself up and remembered my mama used to go to a farmer's market in Sunnydale, used to go to Denny Can, used to go to the butcher. And I used to say, why we gotta stop everywhere? And then the last thing we didn't get, we went to Safeway. And now y'all walk in Safeway, what do they have? Well, in the Western Addition where I live, police are there. The Western Addition where I live, which are mostly senior women still living there, can't even take the cart out. Everything's on lock that has anything to do with Black people. And I'm not shaming any other ethnicity, but when I tell you they got bok choy and everything open, I had to ask for okra.
Sovereignty means us owning our land, having the processing center to process the food that we grow, and then having our own distribution. That's sovereignty. When people say, how did you get into this thing called permaculture and biomimicry? I said, my ancestors built the pyramids. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? I just want to say it because we have a lot of different people telling the story now. I came today, I was invited because I wanted to tell some more real true story. That African American farmers exist in California. We are there. We've just received our first initial $40 million to begin rebuilding the first black town in California, Allensworth, California. We're operating a 60-acre organic teaching and innovation farm. Beginning farmer program, I need you to bring your beginning farmers. We need to repopulate this field.
I know that being blackly black and shopping blackly black is a little inconvenient, but y'all, let's do it. Let's do it. And then I want to give a shout out to Cuisine Noir for Cherie. She called me and said, hey, I can't do it. Can you do it? And there we got a partnership. Living with Phyllis and Cuisine Noir. So I want to say thank you for giving that call to me. Cherie, thank you. And I want to tell y'all, could you please subscribe? It's an online, it's an online magazine, Cuisine Noir Magazine.com.
Hi, I'm Cherie Williams, publisher of Cuisine Noir magazine. We are the country's first black culinary magazine that connects the African diaspora with food, drink, and travel. And I'm excited that we were able to put together a wonderful panel hosted by Phyllis around Black sovereignty, where we were just talking about how we can reclaim our land as Black people, reclaim our foodways, and just really look at how we can take care of one another. So it was just an amazing panel, an amazing conversation. So I met Phyllis who was our host today for the panel many years ago around a wine event, the Oakland Wine Festival actually, and we've just connected, and her passion for great food and great wine over the years has just kept us together.
Thank you. Mwah. Thank y'all. Mwah. Thank you so much. Spend your black dollars in black people. We're black people. Come on, we can do this. We can do this. Bye.